The year I was the biggest coward, I was found by my wealthy biological parents and taken back home. I cried loudly in the car. My parents thought I was overwhelmed with joy, shedding tears of happiness, but in reality, I was scared. I'd read too many real versus fake heiress stories, where the real heiress is usually disliked after returning home. Everyone always favors the fake one, while the real heiress is ignored, mistreated, or even has her organs harvested, kidneys, hearts, you name it. The new house felt like a den of horrors. I was utterly spineless. When my biological parents came looking for me, our family was in the middle of slaughtering a pig. A group of villagers had come to help out. Everyone was working together to hold down the pig as it screamed its lungs out. My dad had one hand gripping the pig's snout and the other holding a knife, which he plunged deep into the pig's neck. The pig thrashed even harder, spraying blood all over my dad. At that moment, the pig's life reached its full value. In our small yard, my dad was butchering the pig. My mom was using rosin to remove the hair from the pig's head. My eldest brother was placing lard into a large pot. My second sister was slicing coagulated pig's blood, and I was washing my favorite part, the pig intestines. The helpers were busy lending a hand, waiting for the feast that would follow the slaughter. Amidst all this commotion, we suddenly noticed two strangers standing in the courtyard. It was a well-dressed middle-aged couple. The man wore a suit, and the woman was dripping in gold and jewelry. Their expensive shoes were covered in mud mixed with pig's blood, and they didn't know where to step. Seeing our family holding various parts of the pig carcass, they trembled with fear. My dad, still reeking of the kill, lit a cigarette and asked gruffly, "What do you want?" The middle-aged man mustered his courage and cleared his throat. We're here to find our daughter." "Find your daughter? What does that have to do with us?" My mom dropped the pig's head into a basin. "We don't have your daughter. Are you human traffickers or something?" The entire yard fell silent. My dad silently picked up the cleaver. My mom grabbed the scalding hot rosin. My eldest brother lifted a metal ladle. My second sister grabbed a firewood stick, and the uncles, aunts, and neighbors all armed themselves with brooms, shovels, pots, and pans. Even our chained-up dog, Yellow, broke free and bared his teeth at them. The couple was stunned and quickly pointed at me with trembling fingers. "We really are here to find our daughter, the one who was accidentally switched at the FS hospital 18 years ago." At that moment, all eyes turned to me. The pig intestines I was holding slipped from my hands and fell to the ground with a splash. This couple introduced themselves as the Lin family. As they explained, the story gradually became clear. 18 years ago, they were driving to check on a project when they encountered a mudslide. The wife went into premature labor due to the shock and was rushed to the nearest hospital, FS Hospital. It was a small-town hospital, and there were only two mothers giving birth that day. Both had daughters. Somehow, the two families ended up with the wrong babies, if not for the recent car accident involving the Lin family's youngest daughter, which revealed a blood-type mismatch during a transfusion. This mix-up might never have been discovered. A cliched plot twist straight out of a TV drama had actually happened to us. When my adoptive parents heard this, their expressions grew heavy. I had always been different from them. The Deng family's children were all big-boned and sturdy, while I was delicate and frail since childhood. Looking closely at my features now, I bore no resemblance to my adoptive parents but shared an uncanny likeness with the middle-aged man. My dad refused to believe it and took me for a DNA test. When the results came back, it was conclusive. I wasn't Nina Deng. I was Nina Lin, the legitimate heiress of a wealthy family. When the truth came out, my adoptive parents' emotions were complex. My eldest brother scratched his head. "Damn, the little sister I've spoiled for so many years is going to another family." My second sister looked anxious. "Oh no, the real versus fake heiress trope from those novels is actually happening to us." Then they both turned to look at me. "Sis, in all those novels, the real heiress always ends up miserable. You're such a coward and don't have much of a backbone. What are you going to do?" I panicked. Yeah, what was I going to do? On the way to my biological parents' home, I cried the whole time. They assumed I was overcome with joy and consoled me for a long time. Little did they know I was terrified. Before leaving, my second sister had drilled me with countless real versus fake heiress stories. In these tales, the real heiress is always the most tragic character. Even though she's welcomed back home, her parents favor the fake heiress they raised, while resenting the real one for being wild and lacking manners. From the elderly to the young, even the maids and drivers. No one likes the real heiress. She's ignored, mistreated, and sometimes even has her organs harvested, kidneys, hearts, you name it. Or she's sent off to Myanmar or some snake-infested island, basically. She gets skinned alive and left half dead before the story ends. I've always been a coward. At 3, I was afraid of chickens. At 5, I was scared of dogs. At 10, I feared tall kids. As an adult, I'm no better. When bullied, I never fought back. I just went home crying to my siblings. And now you're telling me I'm the tragic real heiress from those books, that the people who came for me aren't my parents but grim reapers, that the place I'm going isn't home but a nightmare. I was utterly spineless. Just as I was drowning in fear, the car stopped. We were in front of a large villa. A group of people stood outside the gate. As my parents introduced them to me, I looked at each face, the stern eldest brother, the sharp-eyed second brother, the carefree third brother, and the recently discharged, pale and fragile-looking, sister. At first glance, it was the classic setup for a heiress novel, thinking about the tragic fates from those stories that were about to unfold for me. I burst into tears again, sobbing even louder. The entire family was stunned by my crying. My mother's eyes welled up with tears. Poor child, she must have gone through so much. Look how emotional she is about coming home. My father sighed. She's as thin as a cat. Tonight, let's make sure Nina gets plenty of good food to eat. The eldest brother remained stern but gently patted my head. Our little sister is just so happy to see us. The second brother adjusted his glasses and quietly instructed the butler, prepare a proper welcome banquet for our little sister. Oh, and ask if there's anything she doesn't eat. The third brother, unable to push through the crowd, anxiously paced around outside, shouting, little sis, welcome home. The sister sniffled, you stop crying, you're making me want to cry too. Through my tear-filled eyes, I stared at everything around me. Is this how it's written in those real versus fake heiress novels? That evening, there was a family dinner. After learning I didn't have any dietary restrictions, the family chef pulled out all the stops. The table was filled with exquisite dishes that made my head spin. Everyone else was skillfully and elegantly cutting their Angus steaks, but I clumsily held my knife and fork, completely unused to Western cuisine. The steak in my mouth tasted like cardboard, and I couldn't help but miss the pig intestines I had painstakingly cleaned but never got to eat. After dinner, I glanced at the utility room in the corner downstairs, about to head over, when my mother called out to me, Nina. What are you doing heading to the utility room? I timidly replied, isn't that where I'll be staying? In those kinds of novels, the real heiress who returns home can't compete with the fake one for a proper room. She's always given the attic or a utility room. Mother paused for a moment, then took my hand. She led me upstairs and opened a door. Inside was a carefully prepared pink and white princess bedroom. How could I ever let you stay in a utility room? This is the room I prepared for you. I grew even more flustered. But what about sister? Luna's room is right next door. Mother softened her tone. Nina, your father and I have discussed this with your adoptive parents. Both you and your sister are in high school, and the educational resources in the capital are better. So for now, Luna will stay here with you to continue her studies. Though Luna isn't biologically related to us. She's been part of our family for so many years, and we care deeply for her. Just as your adoptive parents can't bear to part with you, this mother was nothing like the ones in the novels. She was gentler, more understanding. Worried I might overthink things, she patiently explained everything to me. Unconsciously, I felt my nose grow warm again, tears threatening to spill. Mom, I understand everything. Mother smiled, told me to rest, patted my head, and left the room. Not long after she left, there was a knock on the door. It was Luna. No, now she was just Luna. She looked at me, and I looked at her. Neither of us spoke. Just as I instinctively began to shrink back in fear, Luna suddenly said, you don't need to be afraid of me. She continued straightforwardly. It's not my fault that we were switched at birth. I didn't mean to steal the luxurious life that should have been yours. Though I was heartbroken to learn the truth. I won't act like the villainous characters in those TV dramas and bully you. I was stunned. She stepped into the room, pulling me to sit beside her on the bed. Nina, can you tell me something about our family? Luna and I were lying on the bed together. I was holding my phone, showing her the photo album. The album was filled with pictures and videos of my home that I had taken a few years ago. Our family had just built 3-tiled houses in front of the house. There were a few free-range chickens, ducks, and geese. There was a cow shed and pigsty in the yard. A newborn calf stood shakily for the first time, and the mother cow licked it, making it tumble over. At the foot of the wall, there was a chicken coop where chicks had just hatched, their wet eyes looking around. Our guard dog, Big Yellow, chased chickens and ducks all over the yard, wagging his tongue happily. There were also several fruit trees planted in the backyard during harvest season. The trees would be full of fruits. I picked one and couldn't wait to wash it before taking a bite. I even took a selfie with my phone, grinning like an idiot. There was also my father, coming back from work with a hoe on his shoulder, giving a goofy peace sign when he saw me taking photos, and my mother, who was rolling out birthday longevity noodles for me. I playfully smeared flour on her face, and she chased me with a rolling pin, accidentally hitting my eldest brother who had just walked in. My brother stood there dumbfounded, covered in flour, while my second sister laughed so hard she sounded like a goose. In the end, it was me laughing the loudest. I flipped through the album as I explained each picture. Luna listened quietly. At first, she smiled while looking at the photos, but then her eyes started to water. "They seem really nice," she said. "Yes, they are very good people," I replied. "Do you think they will like me?" Luna asked hesitantly. "I don't know how to do chores, farm, or raise chickens and ducks. I don't even know how to interact with them, but you're their daughter, and that's enough," I comforted her. After saying that, I realized I felt the same way as her. "I'm a bit scared," Luna admitted. "During summer vacation, will you take me to meet them?" she asked. I nodded and said yes. We looked at each other and smiled. A night passed, and Luna and I grew closer. Father sent a driver to take us to school. It was an elite private high school where all the students came from wealthy families. I was nervous. In novels, poor kids always get bullied in such schools. The fake heiress would definitely be bullied by the real heiress and her followers. No, I shouldn't think about it. The more I thought about it, the more timid I became. When we entered the classroom, a group of people surrounded us, asking Luna, "Luna, we heard you got into a car accident. Are you okay?" "It's nothing serious, just a small injury, and it's already healed," Luna reassured them. Then someone asked, "We also heard that you're not actually a child of the Lincoln family, that you were switched at birth." For a moment, the entire classroom fell silent. They noticed me timidly hiding behind Luna. "Is she?" someone began to ask. Luna quickly pulled me forward. "This is Nina Lincoln, the biological daughter of my adoptive parents. She was just brought back yesterday." Luna smiled as she continued, "Yes, there was a mix-up, but my parents are kind-hearted and didn't sever ties with me. They allowed me to continue studying here, which is why I can still be classmates with all of you." I was surprised. I hadn't expected Luna to be so honest. Even more surprising was how naturally everyone accepted this. They gathered around us excitedly. "I thought this kind of plot only existed in novels and TV dramas," one student said. "Who would have thought something like switching babies could actually happen?" Everyone started chatting non-stop until the teacher arrived, bringing silence to the room. The homeroom teacher was a middle-aged man with a kind face. He gave me some test papers to assess my academic foundation. Knowing my background, he assumed that I would struggle since I had been studying in a small county school. However, to his surprise, my scores were excellent. Although I came from a rural school, my teachers were responsible. I studied hard, and I was smart, so I wasn't a slacker. I was actually quite the top student. The teacher was delighted. He immediately brought my test results to the classroom and praised me in front of everyone, telling the rich kids to learn from me. I was worried that I might become a target of resentment, but instead, I was met with admiration and envy from my classmates. It seemed this place wasn't as scary as novels depicted. Feeling more at ease, I decided to stop being so timid. Suddenly, someone asked Luna, "Luna, what about your fiancé who is supposed to marry only the daughter of the Lincoln family? What will happen now?" The entire classroom fell silent again. In typical fake heiress stories, there's always a male lead. The fake heiress is head over heels in love with him and determined to marry him, but the marriage is arranged between families, and the male lead must marry the true heiress. From then on, the fake heiress becomes jealous of the real one and starts plotting against her. Meanwhile, the male lead looks down on the true heiress for being a country girl and constantly mocks and bullies her. Just thinking about it made me feel suffocated. I nervously glanced at Luna. I didn't mean to take your, Luna, however, didn't seem to care at all. By the time school ended, Luna dragged me to the gymnasium. Inside, there was a basketball game going on with students from the year above us. The stands were filled with cheering spectators. Confused, I watched as Luna pointed to a sweaty guy on the court. Isn't he handsome? He is. He looks so sunny. Is he the fiancé? Nope, Luna blushed, her eyes glued to the guy without blinking. That's the one I like. Then she pointed to a corner of the court. That emotionless guy over there, Lucas, the student council president, is your fiancé. I stared wide-eyed at the boy in a plain white t-shirt, silently jotting something down. Luna said, I've liked someone for a long time, but because of this stupid engagement, I didn't dare talk to the person I like. But now that you're back, it's different. The engagement belongs to you now, so I'm free. What? Was this even right? After the game ended, Luna excitedly went to find her crush, pushing me toward Lucas. She also informed him that I was the true daughter of the Lincoln family and thus his fiancée. I was extremely awkward, and Lucas seemed equally uncomfortable. Fortunately, he broke the ice first. Where were you before? He asked. In the village, I replied. What was life like in the village? Though he initiated the conversation, his tone was as flat as if he were conducting an interview. But once he mentioned my home, I had plenty to say. Behind my house were mountains, and in front there was a river. We could gather mushrooms in the mountains or catch loaches in the river. Fresh hazel mushroom stew with chicken is amazing. I could eat 2 big bowls in one sitting. Fried loaches are delicious too, stir-fried with shredded red and green peppers, stuffed inside a pancake. It's so flavorful, I wouldn't trade it for steak. Before I left, my family had just slaughtered a pig for the new year. We made homemade pork sausages. They're incredible. Do you want to try some? I can ask my dad to send you a package. After rambling on for a while, I finally noticed Lucas hadn't said a word. He quietly observed me without much expression. I felt even more awkward and forced a laugh, turning away to avoid further conversation. Unexpectedly, he suddenly spoke up. Sure, pork sausage, he clarified. Oh, then, let's exchange WeChat info and your address. I'll have my dad send you a few pounds. By the time Luna returned, Lucas and I had already chatted for a while. Our conversation ranged from pork sausages to how to remove hair from a pig's head, the specific cuts of pork, and how to clean pig intestines thoroughly. The topic stayed centered around pigs. As we prepared to leave, Luna stared at my phone screen in disbelief at the contact name I had given Lucas, the big guy who loves pork sausage. Not long after, the first holiday arrived. I planned to take Luna back to the village. Instead of having the family driver take us, we took the high-speed train and then transferred to a bus. First, we reached the city, then the county, and finally the village. From smooth paved roads, to narrow streets, to dusty dirt paths, we finally arrived at my home. As soon as Luna and I, both feeling a bit nervous, stepped through the door, we were greeted by 2 streaks of red and white charging straight at us. The red one was a rooster, pecking at anyone it could reach. The white one was a goose, pinching whoever crossed its path. I never expected these 2 to be the first to welcome us. Luna, who had never seen anything like this before, froze in fear and was chased around the yard in panic, sweating profusely. I tried to intervene but couldn't stop them no matter what I did. In an instant, the entire yard erupted into chaos. The chicken and the goose chased Luna. I chased after the chicken and the goose, and our dog, Huang, barked excitedly while chasing me. Suddenly, a tall figure cut through the commotion like a blade. With 2 large hands, he grabbed the long necks of the rooster and the goose, lifting them effortlessly into the air. Rooster, cluck, goose, honk, my brother said. So, you're bullying my little sister, you want to die, huh? The rooster and the goose met their end right there. Then, my brother turned to look at Luna and walked over with a smile. It's Luna, right? No wonder she's family, she looks just like Mom. At that moment, Luna's emotions surged. After only a few words from my brother, her eyes began to well up with tears. I quickly asked, Brother, where are Mom and Dad? They're in the greenhouse. Our sister is there too. Without wasting another second, I led Luna to find them. On the way, I filled her in. Our family used to be poor since farmers rely on the whims of nature. It was feast one year and famine the next. But then brother graduated college, he studied agronomy. Big companies in the city wanted him badly. but he chose to come back home instead. In his first year back, our crop yields increased significantly, and he even set up this greenhouse for fruits and vegetables. Not only did our family benefit, but so did the whole village because of him. Luna's eyes sparkled with admiration. Brother is incredible. And so is our sister, I added, by the time we reached the greenhouse. I pointed out our second sister, who was live streaming near the edge of the structure. Our sister studied new media marketing. After graduation, many big companies wanted her, and Mom and Dad hoped she'd stay in the city, but she insisted on coming back. Now she streams our farm produce every day. Within the first month, she already received tons of orders. She's become quite the influencer now, helping sell not only our crops but those of the entire village. Thanks to her, we no longer have to worry about middlemen driving down prices for unsold goods. As we spoke, our sister noticed us. She glanced back, paused when she saw Luna, and then suddenly stood up, overwhelmed with emotion. Someone in the live chat asked what happened. Our sister smiled and replied, "It's my little sister. I need to end the stream now." Some commenters remarked how they didn't know she had a sister. With a grin, she said, "Yes, I have two sisters." Mom and Dad arrived shortly after. When they saw Luna, they froze for a moment before Mom started crying, and Dad wiped away tears. My older brother and sister joined in too. The four of them embraced Luna tightly, sobbing together. I stood nearby watching wistfully until someone pulled me into the group hug. And just like that, all six of us were clinging to each other. After the emotional reunion, Dad brought out a watermelon grown in our fields. We all sat together eating slices of the sweet fruit. Chewing on a piece, I turned to Luna. "Is it sweet?" With slightly puffy eyes from crying earlier, she nodded enthusiastically. "So sweet, super sweet." I chuckled and took another big bite. Before I could swallow, Auntie from next door hobbled in with her cane. "Oh, you're all here. Come help me." My calf ran off. "Hurry and catch it for me," without hesitation. Mom, Dad, brother, sister, and I dropped our watermelon slices and dashed outside. Luna followed behind, looking bewildered. She watched as our entire family sprinted after the mischievous calf, her expression shifting from confusion to determination. Just as the calf passed by her, she swiftly threw her jacket over its head and wrapped her arms around its neck. I caught it. All five of us, plus Auntie, looked on appreciatively and clapped. No wonder she's part of our family, so capable. Yes, our little sister sure knows how to handle things. Luna's amazing, much better than Nina. Remember how she got knocked over by the calf the first time and cried non-stop? Me, why bring that up? Seriously, sis, why are you dragging my past into this? If you hadn't made such a scene back then, I wouldn't have anything to tease you about. Everyone burst out laughing. That evening, the roasted remains of the troublesome rooster and goose found their way onto the dinner table. 4 legs total, 2 for me, 2 for Luna. The meat of free-range chickens and geese raised at home tastes nothing like what you buy in the market. It's firm, flavorful, and absolutely delicious. There were also several dishes featuring fresh vegetables from our garden, crisp yet tender. They tasted naturally sweet. Luna, who always talked about dieting, polished off her second bowl of rice without batting an eye. Afterward, Mom took Luna to the room prepared for her. Life in the countryside isn't like life in the city. There's no nightlife. Everyone goes to bed early because work starts before dawn. Once the whole household settled in for the night, a shadow quietly slipped into my room. Still wrapped in blankets, Luna climbed into bed beside me, peeking out with half her face visible, her eyes shining brightly in the dark. "Do you know? Before coming here, I was so nervous. I was afraid they wouldn't like me or that I wouldn't fit in with your lifestyle." I turned to face her, and now, I think everything is perfect. Luna counted off on her fingers. "Dad's great, Mom's great, brother's great, sister's great, and you're great too. Well, except for the rooster and goose that chased me, which is exactly why they ended up on our plates tonight." I couldn't help but laugh heartily. We spent most of the night whispering back and forth until sleep finally claimed us both. The next morning, Mom and Dad took Luna around the village to meet everyone. Most villagers share the same surname, Duncan, and are somehow related. They wanted Luna to get acquainted with the extended family. At each house, Luna received a red envelope. By the time she returned in the afternoon, she had quite the collection. She sat on my bed counting the envelopes, muttering names under her breath. "This one's from Uncle too. this one's from Aunt 4, this one's from Uncle 3. Meanwhile, I munched on an apple, reminding her of any relatives she might have forgotten. Truthfully, the combined value of all the red envelopes wouldn't even cover the cost of the bracelet on Luna's wrist, but she meticulously counted them anyway, jotting down every name in a small notebook. That evening, the village held a welcoming banquet for Luna. Tables were set up in the square. Laden with steaming hot dishes, elders showered her with warm greetings and endless questions. Overwhelmed, Luna shed more tears. Even after everything ended, she continued sniffling quietly. I led her away from the crowd to a small hill behind the village. By then, the sky had completely darkened. The rural heavens differed vastly from those in the city. They were pure and clear, revealing a breathtaking sea of stars. Luna gazed upward, utterly mesmerized. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "Nina, your home is beautiful." I chuckled softly. "What are you talking about? This isn't just my home anymore. It's ours, right? Our home is beautiful." "Yes." Luna and I spent the entire holiday at home. When it was time to leave, my dad packed up all the things Luna and I loved to eat, along with various local specialties, and sent them all to my parents' place in the city. Perhaps worried that I might feel uncomfortable, my mom pulled me aside to explain. "Nina, even though your sister is back, you're still our child, and that will never change. Your dad and I want both of you to be happy." I chuckled and said, "Mom, I know." The day after we returned to the city, the delivery arrived. That evening, I cooked a few dishes using the homemade specialties from the countryside. As the dishes were served one by one, my dad quietly brought out a bottle of his long-kept red wine. At the dinner table, Luna excitedly shared stories about her travels and experiences over the years. The rest of us listened while eating, and honestly, it's not just me bragging about my cooking skills. My usually quiet older brother complimented my dishes multiple times. My disciplined second brother, who always talks about limiting carbs, ended up going for thirds anyway. My third brother ate heartily and casually asked, "How big is the house there? How many people can it fit? We want to visit next time." Luna thought for a moment and replied, "It's not big enough for everyone, but we could stay with auntie or uncle. They've got plenty of space. There are lots of relatives in the village, so we can stay anywhere. Just be careful," she added. Luna shuddered slightly as she recalled something. "There are a lot of bullies in the village." "Bullies?" My third brother looked surprised, as did everyone else. "What do you mean, bullies? It's not like we're living in the old days." "Oh, there are," Luna insisted. "Roosters pecking at you hurts like crazy, and don't even get me started on the geese. They're ruthless." After spending some time there, I fully adapted to life in the countryside. Before I knew it, it was time for the final push of senior year. Luna's grades weren't as good as mine, not because she couldn't keep up. She was actually very smart, but she wasn't particularly interested in academics. She preferred art. In the second semester of our sophomore year, she secretly started taking painting lessons behind our parents' backs. It wasn't until junior year that our parents found out she wanted to take the art exam route. Dad was worried and scolded her for it, but Mom, ever the open-minded one, persuaded Dad to support whatever their daughter wanted to pursue. So Dad sighed deeply and found a better art teacher to come to our house and tutor Luna. People often say that art students have it easy, but the truth is, they work just as hard as academic students. They have to balance improving their artistic skills while keeping up with their academic subjects. Luna and I studied together every day, motivating each other. One day, I had a sudden idea. I bought a rooster and kept it in the courtyard of the villa. Every morning, just as the sun rose, the rooster would climb onto the fake mountain in the yard and start crowing loudly. Cock-a-doodle-doo. As soon as I heard that shrill cry, I'd immediately rush to Luna's room next door and drag her out of bed to study. Luna was practically in tears. "You're such a monster. Who could possibly compete with you? This is just temporary suffering for future freedom. Now get up, get up, get up." "Wah, Nina, you're heartless." After trying every trick in the book, pouting, whining, stalling, Luna eventually gave in. We studied together, solving practice tests and reviewing notes. When we were too exhausted to continue, Luna would start crying and turn to her phone to watch live streams. Guess whose streams she watched? Our second sister's. Then she'd go on a shopping spree during the stream. She said spending money helped relieve stress. I was utterly dumbfounded. Why buy snacks online when we could just ask our family to send them directly? And now she's giving part of her money to the platform. this kind of stress relief. Luna suddenly glanced at me. Is something wrong? I gave her a thumbs up with a straight face. Nope, nothing at all. You're brilliant. Since getting the rooster, there have been pros and cons. The upside is that after a few days, Luna adjusted to waking up early, rising with the first light of dawn. The downside, the whole family started following this new schedule too. Dad, with nothing else to do after waking up, took his prized agarwood prayer beads and headed to the park to play chess with the elderly gentleman there. Mom started going for morning workouts, and after a month, her once slightly rounded belly became noticeably firmer. She even formed a fitness group with some wealthy ladies. Our eldest and second brothers, driven by ambition, began tackling company affairs as soon as they woke up. Our third brother, always a bit quirky, amused himself by teasing the rooster before running upstairs to enthusiastically supervise Luna and me as we tackled practice exams, and so, our entire household fell under the tyranny of a single rooster. Then, just before the college entrance exam, my adoptive family arrived. The two families gathered in the villa's courtyard for a barbecue. On the menu were half a lamb and some free-range chickens brought from the village. As the youngest of both families, Luna and I were completely spoiled. We didn't lift a finger for prep work or grilling, the most tender, juiciest cuts of meat. Naturally, they went to us, chewing on the fragrant grilled meat. We smiled and gazed fondly at the loved ones around us. By the end of the barbecue, the scene was almost comical. Both fathers, having had a bit too much to drink, clasped hands and called each other big brother and dear friend. Meanwhile, our mothers sat sipping tea, chatting endlessly about how their sons were such handfuls. Our older brothers, wisely avoiding any potential drama, retreated to the side with skewers of meat and glasses of red wine. The oldest brother from the Duncan family, whose agricultural products company was still in its early stages, sought advice from the two elder brothers from the Lincoln family, who had been managing their businesses for years. As for our third brother, he challenged our second sister to a video game duel. Let's just say our sister doesn't mess around when it comes to gaming. She crushed him so badly he nearly dropped to his knees begging for mercy. But he refused to admit defeat, gritting his teeth and demanding rematches. Again and again, he lost. Finally, humbled, he bowed deeply and formally asked to become her disciple. The scene before us was so harmonious, it felt like a dream. It's wonderful, Luna said with a content smile. I nodded, yes, we're truly blessed. With that, we exchanged grins and headed upstairs to resume studying. Tomorrow was the battlefield, and good soldiers always prepare until the last moment. The next day, both families accompanied us to the exam venue. Contrary to expectations, the day of the exam wasn't filled with overwhelming nerves. It felt like any other ordinary test, just a touch of anxiety, but nothing unbearable. Finally, after the last day of the exam, we breathed a collective sigh of relief, but one question remained. What to do with the rooster? Should we kill it or not? Now that the college entrance exam was over, the rooster had fulfilled its duty. Of course, its duty would end in a pot. Our eldest brother frowned. You girls are always talking about killing things. Have some compassion. Our second brother adjusted his glasses. It's true, though, the rooster has served its purpose. Our third brother looked genuinely sad. I've grown attached to it. It wakes me up every day. Mom hesitated. It is a hero of our household. Finally, Dad made the call. No killing, let's just keep it. Do we really need to eat it? We're not short on food. And so, the rooster's life was spared. Only Luna and I licked our lips hungrily and sneaked off to the village, to eat its cousins instead. We barely had a chance to enjoy the post-graduation summer vacation before Luna suddenly approached our parents with an announcement. She wanted to study abroad. The entire family was shocked. Her art exam results were excellent, and though her college entrance exam scores hadn't been released yet, her estimated score was decent enough to secure her a spot at a good university in China. Everyone took turns trying to persuade her, but Luna remained firm. Later that night, as I lay in bed, it hit me. A few days earlier, Dad had mentioned at the dinner table that he planned to involve both of us in the family business, training us to manage the company and eventually granting us shares. Luna's decision to study abroad likely stemmed from her desire to avoid joining the Lincoln family business, and accepting those shares, I immediately slipped into her room. Luna, I understand why you're doing this, but you're also a daughter of the Lincoln family. It's only natural for you to inherit a share of the family's wealth. There's nothing strange about it. Luna paused, then pulled me onto her bed. Yes. Part of my reason for wanting to go abroad is because of that. I'm not their biological daughter. I've lived nearly 20 years of happiness in your place, and I've always felt like I owe you. Even though I'm officially a Lincoln, I don't share blood ties with mom and dad. But the bigger reason, though, is something else entirely. Luna grinned mischievously. To be honest, I have zero interest in managing a company. I prefer a laid-back life. Plus, I can learn better painting techniques abroad. I really want to improve, and most importantly, her voice softened. Simon is there. Simon, the basketball court boy she liked. He was in the same class as Lucas, a year ahead of us, and had gone to the UK right after the college entrance exam. I had assumed her first love had quietly fizzled out, but it turned out she hadn't given up on him at all. So you're a hopeless romantic. Huh, what's wrong with being a hopeless romantic? If I like someone, I'll chase them. Life's too short to live with regrets. Thinking about it, Luna had a point, so I didn't press further. Instead, we laughed and joked around until I ended up falling asleep in her bed. It was a peaceful night's rest. Not long after, Luna left. She left in a carefree manner, but both families were filled with reluctance as they saw her off with longing eyes. Bored in the city, I wanted to go back to the village to pass the time, before I could set off. I suddenly received a message from the big glutton who loves pork sausage. That's when I remembered that I had such a fiancé. The big glutton who loves pork sausage said, "What about the promised pork sausage?" I said, "Sorry, I forgot." The big glutton who loves pork sausage said, "When are you going back to the village?" I said, "Today." The big glutton who loves pork sausage said, "Can you bring one more person?" I said, "Do you really want to eat pork sausage that much?" The big glutton who loves pork sausage said nothing. I said, "All right, I'll take you there." So I took Lucas back to the village. As soon as we stepped into the village entrance, the groups of people gathered along the road all turned their eyes toward Lucas. They stopped eating sunflower seeds and gossiping. They just stared at him. This short stretch of road felt like an inspection parade for Lucas. Even the usually calm Lucas became flustered. We just happened to pass by Fourth Grandpa's house. Seeing Lucas, Fourth Grandpa suddenly clapped his hands and ran towards my house. Lucas said, "Where is he going?" I numbly replied, "To spread the news and tell my parents I'm dating early." Lucas said, "We haven't started dating yet." I said, "Aren't you my fiancé? Whether we've fallen in love or not, it's the same, isn't it?" When Lucas and I pushed open the door, we were greeted by 4 pairs of eyes. My father, my mother, my brother, and my sister. Oh, and another pair, and yellow. Other chickens, ducks, geese, cows. There were too many to count, so they didn't count. I introduced Lucas to my family, straight out saying he was my fiancé. They knew about my fiancé. Third auntie heard about this and grumbled, saying rich people love to play matchmaker. Hearing that my fiancé had arrived, great aunt who lived across the street, despite being semi-paralyzed, struggled to push her wheelchair over. "Nina has a boyfriend. Let me, old woman, take a good look." It wasn't just great aunt, there were also second uncle, third uncle, seventh aunt, sixth aunt, third aunt-in-law, big aunt. A bunch of curious relatives all came to our small yard to see the commotion. The esteemed young master of the Smith family turned into a zoo animal. After a whole chaotic day, I took Lucas to the small hill behind the village. The hill wasn't high. From here we could overlook the entire village. Finally, some peace and quiet. We could finally talk, I said. "I know you want to call off the engagement." Lucas looked back at me. Without looking at him, I sat down and randomly plucked a piece of dog-tail grass to fiddle with. Although I was recognized by the Lincoln family, I lived here for 18 years. No matter how you look at it, I don't seem like a rich girl, and standing next to you, we are completely mismatched. "You're wrong," Lucas sighed. "Nina, I've never thought of calling off the engagement." He lay down too. For people of our social class, marriage is mostly not about feelings, it's all about interests tying us together. As long as my marriage partner is from the Lincoln family, whether it's you Luna before or you now, it makes no difference to me. But after getting to know you, I found interacting with you quite interesting. I actually like it. Besides, your family's pork sausages are indeed very tasty. While I was lost in thought, my hands had already randomly woven a grasshopper. Lucas was very interested in the grasshopper. "Your hands are quite skillful. It looks really nice." I instinctively threw the grasshopper to him. If you like it, then it's yours. Lucas blinked. Does this count as a token of affection? I was increasingly speechless. Who uses dog tail grass as a token of affection? Big brother, do you know that this is actually considered early dating? We are engaged couples. We need to build up some feelings. Well, I really didn't know what to say. When I see him off, I'll give him more pork sausages. Anyway, he likes them. After the college entrance exam results came out, I went to the university where Lucas was, not because of him, purely because I wanted to study finance, and the finance program at Lucas University was top-notch nationwide. I studied happily at the university. Luna, on the other side of the ocean, held her favorite paintbrush and chased the boy she liked. We often video chatted across the ocean. Here I nod on finance-related books, while Luna elegantly painted oil paintings, occasionally laughing and teasing with her boyfriend, showing affection. Watching them made my skin crawl. Luna hadn't forgotten to make faces at me. Envious, right, little sis? I silently took out my phone and showed her the table full of delicious food my mom made for me, with a pot of fragrant chicken stew steaming hot in the center. Not envious. Not at all. Luna was obviously upset. Wait for me to come back. I want to eat 5 chickens. At the end of the video, Lucas entered the frame. He had just finished class and came to our study room to call me for dinner. A new farmhouse restaurant opened. They have your favorite dishes. Let's go try them. I immediately packed my things and got ready to go. Just before ending the video, I saw Luna smiling at me through the screen. You and Lucas are pretty close now. Lucas interjected. I'm her fiancé. How can I not be close to her? Luna smiled even more brightly. She said to me, Nina, we will both be happy, right? I also smiled. We're so good. How could we not be happy? Luna nodded. Right, exactly. We exchanged smiles. After hanging up the video, I said to Lucas, I'm in a good mood today. I want to eat 2 big bowls. During my senior year internship, I entered the family company. At first, I started from the grassroots level, gaining experience and improving my skills. Every day was busy like a dog, but I progressed quickly. Whenever I had questions, I would ask my older brothers, and they helped me a lot. Third brother started his own business. He invested in the agricultural products company of the eldest brother of the Duncan family. And the 2 of them worked hard on their careers. Second sister continued her live streaming shopping, which was thriving, and her fan numbers kept rising. Luna continued her graduate studies on the other side of the ocean. Each of us was growing in our own way. 2 years later, under the guidance of my family, I finally had the ability to work in management. I finally had the strength to stand on my own. Lucas' father initially had some doubts about me, a true heiress from the countryside. But as he interacted with me more, his gaze gradually showed appreciation. He even began to frequently arrange dates for Lucas and me. Half a year later, Luna and Simon returned to China. Those 2 started opening art galleries and hosting exhibitions. Compared to my busyness, Luna was very relaxed and free, spending half a month in the city and half a month taking her boyfriend back to the village. Village life gave her a lot of inspiration. Her paintings featured many rural elements, with simple yet passionate colors and brushstrokes, making her work unprecedentedly popular. I even collected one of her paintings. The painting depicted a field of golden wheat, with a dirt road on the edge where a big yellow dog was running, followed by a rooster and goose strutting proudly. I asked why these particular chickens and geese looked so familiar. Luna smiled brightly. These are the ones that chased me when I first came home. How could they not be familiar? Let me interview you. Why did you include them in this painting? I got hungry halfway through painting and suddenly craved the iron pot stewed goose made at home. At a business banquet, I stood holding a glass of red wine, chatting and laughing with business partners. The once timid little girl had now become strong, no longer afraid of anything. After finishing the conversation, I quietly slipped away to a corner. Lucas, who was also here, walked over. We both sighed deeply, though fearless. I still disliked such occasions full of scheming and calculation, and coincidentally, so did he. We clinked glasses. Exhausting. Me too. I want to go back to the village. Me too. We glanced at each other and smiled knowingly. The next day, we arranged our work and returned to the village. My father silently picked up the cleaver. My mother brought out the boiling rosin. My eldest brother picked up the iron ladle. My second sister grabbed the firewood stick, and other uncles, aunts, and neighbors found brooms, shovels, pots, pans. and the chained-up yellow quietly broke free and bared its teeth at them. Lucas walked around the yard, observing the free-range chickens, ducks, and geese. His treatment now was completely different. Basically whoever he pointed to would die. Before his finger even fell, my mother's cleaver had already swung. Free-range duck, dead. It was near the end of the year, and the family was slaughtering the New Year pig again. Some villagers of Lucas' age came to help, sizing him up, shaking their heads and smirking. Nope, city folks can't handle this kind of work. Lucas remained silent, but I knew he was unwilling to admit defeat. He rolled up his sleeves and followed them to hold down the pig, breathing heavily. He was then shocked pale by my father's pig slaughtering scene, trembling all over. But when the pig slaughtering feast was served, he ate with more gusto than anyone else. After the meal, we went to the small hill behind the village again. From here, we could see a beautiful sunset. Suddenly, Lucas took out a small box, opened it, revealing a delicate diamond ring. I used to think marrying anyone was the same, but now I realize it's not. Nina, I'm very happy with you, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Though surprised, it wasn't unexpected. I took the ring, then pulled out a dog-tail grass ring I had made. Actually, I feel the same way, but you beat me to it. Lucas obediently wore the dog-tail grass ring, then hugged me and laughed heartily. After experiencing so much, I finally understood that no path in life is walked in vain. Every step taken, every person met, every choice made at crossroads, together, they ultimately shaped a unique me. I am grateful for such a life. I am grateful for everyone who has appeared in my life. For the rest of my life, I will remain as happy as I am now. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.